Welcome to Oh Brother, the podcast of three brothers trying to figure it all out, with your hosts Brandon, Collin, and Aaron. On this week's show, Mistaken Identity. Hello.
Hello.
What's new?
First week of school is now over. Hooray!
You survived, I presume.
Somehow, yes. So,
It's a miracle.
yeah, that was a little rough. Lots of new things to talk about and do and go over, and then there's always something that I forget, and you have to talk about that later. So, you know.
Oh, and also, and another thing.
Yeah. Especially with like the setting expectations, because you're like, we forgot to talk about recess. Oh well, dang it. Well, here it is, recess time.
Yeah.
Whoopsie. They'll figure it out. It's fine. So
Yeah, you've got some time to work out those kinks, right? Like,
well, and just like some of the little stuff, like when do we how do we line up to go inside from recess, or how do we go to the lunchroom? Like, these kind of things. So,
yeah,
the first week is ironing out a bunch of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's just sort of easier to do it and then, like,
right. Even if you explain the intricacies of each one of those, I mean, yeah, like, you're not really going to fully understand this process until.
Yeah. Especially processes like that you just do so much that, like, you kind of just do them. And you don't really think about how, right? You just do it. And so when someone like asks you to explain how you do it, you're like, well, you see, first you do this, and right? So you kind of have to think about it real hard.
Yeah.
Whereas once you're doing it, you're just like going through the motions and doing it. You're like, oh, okay, well. So
that's a really good point of how often that kind of scenario comes up in life. I think just in general.
I'd say quite often.
I mean, we see it a lot whenever we ask a pet parent, like, okay, walk me through your routine. And all of a sudden you see all of their gears grind to a halt as they're trying to take everything into account that they do, or even just remember what they do, because they have no idea, right? They have no idea to explain these little tiny things that they just quote unquote just do, and that I'm asking them to please write this down, and we're going to make an SOP for you. And it's like, oh yeah.
Well, you just sort of autopilot through it, especially something like pet routines, because you just do it every single day.
Yeah,
and so you just kind of do it, and so it's like when you have to really stop and think about it, it's hard to think about it. And that's like how teaching is too, right? Like I always forget, like, oh yeah, I have to do this now. Because especially like leading up to the school year, I'm not thinking about those things. But then like when I'm in the classroom, there's things that I'm doing that I'm like, oh yeah, I do this too. And oh yeah, there's this thing.
Well,
so kind of like.
So many of them are very contextual of like, you only do them in that room. Only do them at that time of day. And when you're out of that routine, all of a sudden, you're like, oh yeah, oh yeah, that thing.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's definitely difficult to make the switch in my brain. It takes a little bit from like, just being at home, doing like at home things, and then like all the little things that happen in my classroom on a daily basis.
Sure.
And even when you get there the first time, like it's not until there's kids in the room that you're like, right, this is what happens. Got it. Like there's something in my brain that like turns on and it's like, yes, this is what you do now. I'm like, aha, okay.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
that might just be a me problem, right? Like that's
I don't think so. That sounds like a common problem. I'll bet. Yeah, I'll say it is. I'll say it.
All right, that's good. But this year I did plan ahead in one key aspect of my life.
Okay.
It's very important. Because this year, before school started, I bought some throat lozenges.
Got him.
So like the ones for like that, like I had to Google because I didn't want like a cough drop, right? I was looking for like ones that, you know, they're like speakers and like singing people use, right? So I got some random ones I just found on a list because normally the first week of school, my voice is just wrecked because I go from not talking at all to talking very loudly for most of the day.
No, that's a really good point. Yeah. And you're like,
in like this, I have like a big loud presenting voice. And so it's usually the first week of school, my voice is like, no, it's completely wrecked and gone. So this year I experimented with some lozenges, planned ahead. Thought about it.
What lozenges did you stumble upon? If you don't mind.
You would ask me that question now that they're not in my possession. Hold on. Let me just look up my Amazon order.
Okay.
They're in my backpack, which is in the hallway by my shoes.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So I had those, but here we go. They are called Grether's Pastilles. I think that's how you pronounce this name. Grether's Pastilles. Yes, sugar-free for throat and voice. With glycerin and fruit juice. Look at that. Original formula, handmade in Switzerland. So, hashtag not sponsored by Grether's Pastilles. I hope I'm saying your name right. But they have worked pretty well this week.
Very, very interesting. Okay.
So, there you go. They're like, they're weird because they're like a gummy, but you like don't chew them, you know? Because they're like imagine a super hard gummy bear.
Ew.
Like, you know, whenever you were younger and you thought to yourself at the ice cream bar, yes, I am going to put gummy bears in my frozen yogurt.
Every time.
And then you tried to eat one and you were like, this is a terrible idea. This is the worst decision I've ever made in my life.
Why would anybody actually do that? Yeah.
Yeah. So they're like really kind of hard, but you're not supposed to like chew them. You're just kind of supposed to leave it in your mouth, right?
Yeah.
But it's not like like a cough drop.
Huh.
It's like somewhere between like a Hall's like super industrial strength brick cough drop and like a gummy bear. So somewhere in there are these things. They're pretty good. I have the black currant ones, the black currant flavoring, which is good. I don't really know what black currant is, but it tastes pretty good. No idea. Tastes good though. Like it's very mild tasting. It's not like it's not like strong or overpowering. So they're pretty good. But yeah. So I tried that this year.
Good job.
And it worked out pretty good. So if you too need a lozenge for voice and throat, check out Grether's Pastilles.
Links and show notes and
hashtag not sponsored
yet.
Talk
about them, bring them up. That way, whenever we send out the sponsor email, we can say, "Look, we've already talked about you on the show. You're an
yes, that's true. Just cut this part out right here, so it's fine.
I'll just send them the timestamp of when we talk about Grether's Pastilles.
Perfect.
That's easy. Maybe they'll forgive us. I wonder if they have a pronunciation. Every company, I believe, needs to have a pronunciation page on their website so that you can avoid this exact scenario. Because how wonderful it would be.
I agree wholeheartedly with this because that happens a lot, right? You like, and then you feel, you're always like self-conscious when you go, if you do go to a store and like ask for something, right? I know that's like out in left field nowadays, like asking for help in a store. You might not get it in a lot of stores. They'll just be like, bro, I don't know. I just got here. Yo. But like, yeah, if you don't know how to say it, it's really confusing. So that would be good. I think every brand should do that.
At least, or like on an FAQ page or something, because it comes up. It's not an uncommon event to go, how do they not just how do you pronounce it, but how do they want me to pronounce this?
Well, that's true, right? How does the company pronounce their name, right? What is your name called? And that's really good. Is, some companies have like odd names, right? They're mashups of several words or names,
right?
Or they're like, German or something, and you're like, I don't really pronounce German very well. Can you help me?
Yes. Or it's
this is a good idea.
And you're like, why do you draw E? It should just be Nike. Like, why it's Mike and Nike? Why is it Nike? But anyway, just an example of something.
Because it's Greek.
Well,
man.
Yeah, but just upon first glance, Mike.
No, that is true. That is true. If you don't know, that's true. That's one you don't think about, right? Like, but they tell you in the commercials, right? Yeah. That's like what the commercial's job is, right? They say the name. Although that used to be a lot of times, right? You venture into those commercials and there's a commercial and you're just like, I don't know what that is. Or it just like puts the name up in text. You're like, thanks. Could you say that name for me?
Yes. Yeah. Where's the help button? Where's the more info?
Because you're right. Like, you take Nike for granted because you've literally heard it your whole entire life.
Yeah.
But if you just saw it for the first time, you might think it's like Nike. It's a good point. Think about that. Or in Back to the Future 3, Nikkei. What is that?
Exactly. Point proven. We're going to start. Well, that'll be part of our Oh Brother ventures, where we put together part of our advertising, not just our broader campaign to make advertisements better, but also to make them more accessible.
Yes, as one of our mission statements.
Yeah, and where you can hire us to come in, and we will review your ads, and we'll give you some pointers, and we'll make them better for you. And we'll also put a little FAQ on how to pronounce the name of your little company.
We'll just record ourselves saying it, and you can use that little soundbite on your webpage. Like on Google, and you push a little dictionary thing, and it just like says the name, right? You can just have Aaron's name be like, yes, it's pronounced, whatever it is. I don't know.
See, this is a service that I think more companies don't know they need. So it's got to work.
All right. I like this idea. It's great. So be on the lookout for the future recurring segment. Company names we don't know how to pronounce. Okay, that's going to
good chunk of this.
The new recurring bit here on it'll just go nicely into our little advertisement corner where we talk about things that confuse us, like Klondike bars and
oh yes. Yeah, I think there's just literally so much there.
And if nothing else, it's more content for us. So, oh no, how terrible.
Oh no, we'll just have to go into a third hour anyway.
We'll just have to edit it out. It's fine.
Yeah, that'll be separately released on it. Anyway,
yes.
Airman, how are things off in the West?
Not too bad. Just had our second scrimmage Thursday. Got a first game next Friday, and we had some. We were going to go out and adventure today, but illness and the fact that we didn't get up until like 10, we're like, you know what? Let's just kind of stay around town today. So that's kind of what Shelby and myself did. Yeah. Because Thursday, I didn't get home to that like midnight, because the place we went to was about like an hour away from my school. And so we had to drive there and then drive back. And then I had to drive an hour home. So I was pretty pretty late for me. And then school's been, this Friday was definitely chill. I just had the kids do presentations, and then we did kind of some errands around here. And then tomorrow I got to go back down there to my school. We're going to do game film and do preparation stuff for this week. Am I happy to drive an hour down on a Sunday? No, but I'll go down there. I'll work on some lesson stuff, get some stuff in the grade book, and then it'll pretty much just me vibing, working on some stuff, doing film things, and getting the kids prepared for the next week. So other than that, that's been the crux of my entire week in a nutshell.
Nice. Great. But yeah, that's kind of my week sort of blistered by as well. It was sort of just like, do all the things. No, get organized. Mm-hmm. And then today I was like, so there's like a repurpose fair in town today or whatever, like a little thing downtown. And Susan's like, you want to go? And I was like, nah. No. Like, I'm really tired and it's still hot outside. And, I'm good. I'm just going to be like,
I did have, so I had the last week or two's issue with the car and it not having, a fuel pump. And then miraculously, I get home one night and my engine, like the whatever light it was, came on, and it's like, oh, that's the coolant light. And I was like, dope, awesome. So I'm just tootily scooting along. I get home and my car is like slowly shutting down because it's like, it's too hot. Like, nah,
too hot. And
so I was like, well, golly gee willikers, this isn't fun. And so I go out and get some more coolant stuff, and then I get some stuff replaced, and then we do throughout the week, and then it's just like more draining, and it's like, well, it's not supposed to do that. And I go, what was that, like Tuesday? I'm just kind of back and forth, just kind of like it maintaining. It's like, why is this thing not wanting to hold? And then I take it to AutoZone, and they're like, oh yeah, it's the coolant hose. Like, you see this massive hole in it? And I'm like, sorry, what?
Ah.
And yeah, sure enough, they I was expecting, oh crap, how long is it, or how much is this going to cost me, and blah blah blah. I was like, oh, we'll sell you a hose for like $3. And I was like, oh well,
you say like no dollars.
Yeah. And so I got that fixed,
but then you have to buy more coolant because you have to drain it out to put the hose on.
Yeah, so that was my Monday and Tuesday of just combating that. But yeah, I was like, oh well, what else is happening? But that was not fun of seeing that thing pop up. And then when I opened up the hood, it what was that
smelled
called?
Lovely.
Yes, that coolant smell is amazing. No, it's not.
Yeah, like the burning coolant smell.
Yeah. So
we got. Go ahead.
So that popped up, and then like the top part of the car insulation was like, there's like a little burnt hole from where the coolant had like it bursted out, and so
on the hood part,
like on the underneath of the hood. So that might have to get that replaced. But yeah, my car still smells of coolant because there's some pools coagulated in some areas.
Yeah, we got stuck in that one time when we had that similar car, right? Yeah, we it got low on coolant, and I put the coolant in, and I could not get that stupid coolant line bled out enough.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There was just some air pocket stuck in there. I could not get it to undo, and it would like at one point it like pulled a vacuum on the overflow tank, and it just like siphoned all the coolant back out of the car again onto the ground. I was like, what the heck?
Nice.
Oh my gosh, it was awful. Like,
oh wow,
it was so terrible. Like, I had to seek professional assistance just to like get that stupid air bubble. I could not get it. I tried, and I just couldn't do it right. So oh my goodness, it made me so mad.
Yeah, I had to do that.
That all happened. That all happened while we were in Arizona, and
right.
Yeah.
You were
after our car exploded. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to mess with the coolant hose a couple times on the old Jeep, because the rubber had started to go bad right where it connected back up, and so
yeah,
I cut it short, and then I was trying to stuff it back on, and that created a whole laundry list of problems. That was like, maybe I should not have done that, or maybe I should have just bought a new hose. That
probably yes,
made it actually work well.
But now I'm mad at Aaron because I can legitimately smell that, right? Mm-hmm. Like that hose coolant hot smell. Like I could smell that. I have a smell memory of that.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. I'm glad you got your stuff sorted out, because that's
absolutely.
Yeah, that's also that's not what I wanted on a. It's like I just got this thing sort of kind of fixed. Like, come on. So
yeah, but at least it wasn't a simple one, right?
Yeah, it is.
That's true.
We'll see. We'll see what next week brings.
Accelerated by the fact it's been so dang hot at the end of the month here. Like, yes, 12,000 degrees in August forever.
Perfect.
So, hopefully, maybe that will go away at some point. That would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we have a cool down coming up soon. Maybe.
We'll see. September is the lie. In the Midwest, listeners, September is the biggest liar in the world, right? You get through August, you're like, summer is winding down. And there's always a couple weeks in September that's like, yeah, it's a little cooler. It's winding down. And then like in the middle of September, it's like, haha, just kidding. Blam, 95. You're like, what in the world? No. Stop it. So I don't like it. Makes me grumpy.
But it's the official start to fall. The pumpkin spice lattes are already out.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, college football was on the television today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yes. Susan was very ecstatic. She watched all game day this morning. She watched some football this afternoon. So, pretty cool.
How many fall decorations do you have out already?
Do I have out? Well, none yet.
How many fall decorations are out currently in your red?
In my house? None yet. It is still a little hot. Right? Yeah.
Fair enough.
And it's still technically August. So
okay. Right.
Yes. Wait, this is one of those things that Susan and I have a differing viewpoints on, right? Is like how the seasons are categorized. You know what I mean? Like I think about them like very like astrologically, like the actual like the solstice and stuff like that, you know?
Okay.
She has it in her mind like very differently of like, you know, June, July, August are summer. September, October, November are fall. December, like, you know what I mean? Like the traditional, like the school calendar method, right?
Yeah.
Like she has it, that's how she has sorted it in her mind to do that. And so we like jokingly argue about that sometimes, especially around like when our seasons do not overlap anymore. Like I'm like, it's still summer. She's like, no, it's not. It's fall.
Yeah, well, it's not a lie, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just
that's funny.
I just think it's funny. I give her grief about it because it humors me.
Well, I've been sweltering away in the heat. I decided, lots of stuff going on this week. First, we decided that we were finally going to switch banks, which what a tremendous undertaking that is.
Right.
Well, so because I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, because every business has to make the right decision here. But we were with a bank that was like, for America or whatever, right? Like you can, their name rhymed with Schmeg of America. And anyway, they have decided that they are yet again changing up their tier of what you get. When we first, and this is a bank that Megan and I have been with for as long as we've been married, going on 10 years now. It's been our one bank account for literally everything. And
yeah,
they have.
Well, no, I've had the same bank. I've had the same bank since I was 17.
Sure.
Yeah.
We just, when we got married, we threw everything together, and that's been our bank. And we went in, and over the years, they've changed the different tiers of like, if you have this much money in there, you get this, or if you have this kind of deposit, you get this stuff free or this stuff. And they've slowly whittled away to now where it's like, if you want a cashier's check, that's like $20. And if you want, our tier, they put us into the tier of like, because our checking account doesn't meet, like, we don't have like $5,000 in there on a daily basis. Like, it's a daily average, right?
Yeah.
We don't get checks. We cannot write checks from our account at all. At all. I don't.
What?
They were just like, if you have, basically, it's called the checklist checking account. I'm like, not the, what? Those words don't, I'm so confused. But we didn't meet the minimum requirements, and I wasn't going to sign up for the ridiculous rewards where you didn't have to just sign up for the rewards of like, you have to go use it. So it was like, Lowe's has 10% off, and if you use your Schmake of America account, you can get 10% off. But you had to use their rewards in order to stay like current with them. Otherwise, they started charging you monthly fees. And I was like, I can't write checks.
That's wild.
I don't get free debit card replacements if it gets lost or stolen. I am at risk of paying a monthly fee. Why are we with these people right now? Like, this is ridiculous. So,
yeah,
I have been slowly trying to track down every corner of everything where this number is, and it's everywhere. Oh, that was the other thing. Because we weren't going to have quote unquote checks, I couldn't use the ACH payment method for like bills and whatever, where you enter your routing and checking account information to pay like.
Because you don't have because
I don't have a checking account.
That's so weird.
So now,
like my bank, if you do that, they will just you can just be like, hey, do this, and they automatically send a check to wherever you want. Like if it's a place that doesn't have, like the place that doesn't do online stuff, the like 3 places that you still can't do that, like they will like just issue a check directly from the bank and mail it.
Exactly. But and I do this in a couple places to avoid because even if we're paid with a debit card, they have a processing fee to use a debit card. So I'm trying to avoid. Yes. Several, like a couple of utility places are like, you're paying with a debit card. We still have a card processing fee of like $2.
Guys, it's 2021. You don't need a card processing fee. Stop it. That's just made up bunk, right?
I know, like the convenience fee. Like, great. The convenience of me getting like money.
Yeah. In 2004, I could buy that, right? Maybe. You know what I mean? Like,
no, where it was hassle. Like there was more intermediate steps. It wasn't as common. So to avoid those in a couple places, I've been using this ACH payment method, but I can't do that anymore. So like our utilities for the house are going to get like, if I don't push this over, are going to get like cut off and all ridiculous stuff. So
yeah,
I have this super long list of things that are either on auto draft or on periodic payment or are connected to other things that are like paying this bill or that bill or whatever. And it's just like, it's driving me insane. And I know I'm going to forget something, which is fine because usually, the ones that I'm really searching for at this point, they're inconsequential. I'll get an email. They'll be like, your payment, method is out of date or doesn't work. And I'll go ahead and change it.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
And it's fine.
Like, don't switch banks if you don't have to, unless they're being awful, like Schmank of America.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
That's like, crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I don't know. I don't use my bank in that way. So like the bank I use has like been just fine. It's very sufficient for what I want. I like just put my money in there and I can use my debit card and that's it. Like I have been personally just checklist by choice for like a long time now, like 5 years, because I ran out and was like, meh, I don't need these.
Well, I'll tell you this. What really,
but I mean, that's just me. Cause again, I don't like,
we with us, I still have almost all of the original ones. Well, we've moved since then, but, I mean, we moved 3 years ago here and we had to, at that time, we still got the basic checks for free. So I got those with the new update. We still have all of them. I think we've used like 5. But here's the reason I really needed to switch. Lillian's school does not have an online payment option. And they don't take they only
really?
Check.
Guys, you can just get a little reader to put in an iPad, man. Come on.
And leave it at
if food trucks can figure this out, schools can figure it out. Come on, guys.
I know.
What are you doing?
So
what's the matter with you?
I literally am ripping apart our entire like financial infrastructure so that I can write checks so that my daughter can go to school. And it kind of hurt.
Yeah, I was mildly inconvenienced this week because my new debit card showed up and I have like 3 things I have to change the number in now.
Oh, same. Yes.
Like I'm like, I have to go to like PayPal and here and like change my number in like 4 places. But Collin is like,
I can't even.
I was all excited because I live in the future now and my bank card showed up. And I don't know if some listeners might know this, like a long time ago, you used to have to like either go into the bank and have them run your debit card so that it would like work now. Mm-hmm. Or you had to like go to the ATM,
use it in a physical location,
and use it, and it would like update the PIN number and all that stuff. I went to my bank app and went update, boom, and it's done. And it works now. So like, I was like, this is great. I don't have to go anywhere. I do have to remember where, like, what is my card, like, where do I have to go look at like my payment history to be like, okay, I paid this and this, right?
Yeah. Well, no, same thing.
And this,
like I've got to figure out. I was doing that list of like, okay, well, let's go through the payment history. But also, I've got our account.
But I can just look at my bank balance and be like, oh, look, here's like my, the little thing that they get. That is, well, just on my app, I could just look at all the places it's gone to. Like,
I have some things that only occur like once a year, or maybe like.
Oh, that's true.
Like for like website domains. Like I purchased some of those on like a 3-year rotation. So now
that's true.
And we also have it linked
like my Prime subscription, right? That's like a once a year thing,
exactly.
Right?
So I've got to make sure, and I've also got it linked.
Goes up every year inexplicably.
Our business accounts, so that I can pay ourselves from our business and stuff. So
yes, that would be useful.
Can't forget that. So I'm doing it. I'm in this weird mode where I've got these 2 bank accounts now, and one just exists to catch all of the bills that I know I'm going to forget. And I'm trying to shunt everything over to the new one and start using that. And I don't like having to. It's too much for me. And I had that last straw where I was like, okay, like I've just got to do this. I'm going to rip off this Band-Aid and dive in. And it's been fun. But
fun is not the word for that. I don't.
So to get out my frustrations, I have been attacking our yard.
Oh no.
Where
full on dad mode. It's time for the yard.
Where our grass has just like died. And
you are your father's son. Look at you.
So frustrated.
Look at you go.
I've been so frustrated by this. We've been watering, fertilized, did all this stuff. And it just hasn't taken off. It's just been this slow, really sad death. So finally, I was like, you know what? You know what actually needs to happen? I need to till the entire backyard. And I need to I need to aerate it. And then I need to go in. I'm going to reseed and I'm going to water on top of that. And it's going to be awesome. But we have a pretty small backyard. But I didn't want to go. I'm not going to buy a tiller. Right? That's ridiculous.
You can rent one, surely.
You can, but they get really expensive. Like, you can rent one for like 4 hours for $30. And I'm like, well, like, I don't know what's going to come up. So I'm going to need to rent it for like a couple days just to make sure I don't have any issues. And then at that point, I'm like, I'm spending like over $100 or whatever for this thing. And I'm like, So to take out my frustrations on the bank issue, I bought a manual tiller.
Otherwise known as a garden hoe, right? I think it's
no. It's the ones where you plunge it down. It's got the 4 tines that stick out in the bottom, and then you twist it back and forth, and you rotate it.
Oh my gosh! Look.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Oh.
I was waiting for Collin to be like, so I rented an ox, and I got
the fair was.
I just went over to the state fairgrounds, and I asked to borrow an ox.
Jim had
and I went all feudal England on it, just like
shut up.
Oh man, you should have done this last week when the fair was there. Got over there with like, hey, can I rent your pigs for like a night? And just like let the pigs go literally let them go hog in the backyard, right? And just like totally root it. Boom. Done.
And
perfect.
And I'm really glad I didn't go with the motorized tiller, because I have found that 3 inches below the surface of many spots of my yard is a green
rock
mesh, like that they placed underneath.
Oh, like a landscape mesh.
Like
really?
A landscape mesh. It's not a thick mesh, but it's like a porous, like it's like a fishing net, like a monofilament.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Fishing that they laid down like 3 inches below the surface. That would have totally destroyed my rented tiller had I tried to use it.
Then you could have just made a go-kart out of it, so it would have been fine.
Exactly. It would have been like, fine, I'll buy it from you. My daughter likes to go fast anyway. We'll be fine.
Perfect.
But yeah, so I have been...
Under the whole yard?
Under vast sections of it. Mostly portions closer to the house, where I think they were shaping the slope away from the house.
Probably, yeah.
They laid this down and then put more dirt and grass on top of it.
Sawn on top of it, maybe.
And I'm quickly discovering why the grass is not surviving in the high traffic areas, because the soil has an insanely high clay content. Not surprising in Missouri.
Also, yes, not surprising.
Where I am, I mean, this stuff was like compacted concrete this time of year because it was so. Even though I'm watering
dry
almost on a daily basis.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Once clay is compacted, like it's not going anywhere. So
yeah,
it has been. So we went. I took Noah with me to Lowe's to get the hand tiller and grass seed, a couple other stuff. And while we're getting the hand tiller, he found the kids' version of a rake and a shovel. Like, well, of course, if I am digging and playing in the backyard, you can dig and play in the backyard. So I go out there.
Did you say no, son? I'm going to actually put you to work. Here's the real rake and shovel. So no more playtime, buddy. It's time to get to work.
Exactly. You're the one doing the work. I'm going to be over here just messing around. And that's been a lot of fun. We go out there and we pluck away at it in the morning and in the evenings where it's a little cooler, and it's been really fun because he gets out there and I tell him because the ground is pretty hard right now because haven't been watering while I've been doing this because I don't really want to mess everything up. So
you don't a mud pit in your backyard.
No, I will make water once this is all in. But basically, I said well, hey, I'm going to be going in this path. And you can come behind me, and with your shovel, you can dig around and play in the turned soil now, and then use your rake to rake it all back in so it's nice and level. And that's what we've been doing. That's how we've been. I've been going and busting it all up and turning it over, and then he comes behind me and plays and digs in it, and then rakes it back all nice and neatly. And I'm like, oh, thanks, bud.
That's hilarious.
That's been really good. But it's been really hot. So I've been having to make sure I'm not out there when it's like mega bad.
So go full dad mode and forget water exists and just be outside forever.
Yeah, and just be like, then come in and be like, I have like a fever and my head hurts and I'm achy.
I don't good. I wonder
what? But yeah, I've been finding some cool, some really, really old nails. They're the really big ones. I've been finding those in the backyard too. So
interesting.
Yeah. Kind of like
a veritable treasure trove.
Exactly right. Nothing. Finding some tree roots, which is a little interesting because we don't have any trees very close to us
anymore.
Exactly. Of because that's like when when our basement flooded, and they were like, "Oh, you've got tree roots," but they said we had tree roots growing in, and it was like,
from where?
What and when? But okay, so
true.
Here we go.
They go quite far. So,
I know.
Could be your neighbor's tree.
Exactly. I'm sure it is. It's funny being like, oh, hello. Trying to be nice. But no, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. My hands have not. I have thoroughly destroyed.
You forget to buy some work gloves, maybe, on your little sojourn to the department store.
But when you start sweating,
do you wear them
inside your work gloves? And then you're also doing this twisting, pulling motion. I think it's all right.
Different work gloves.
Different. I need new ones. Have them. Problem solved.
Yes, exactly. Perfect.
That's been my week. Switching banks.
That's
a multi-week process. And
that's not an exciting task.
Digging up our yard. And today we were swimming and at the pool. And obviously at the pool. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, we were swimming at the pool.
You could have been at the lake. You could have gone to the creek, right? We do live in Missouri. You could go down to the creek there and go for a little swim, right?
We weren't. We were at the pool, and this lady walks up. Right. She goes, "Oh, hi, Dr. Woolery." And I said, "Huh?" And she said, "Dr. Woolery?" And I was like, "No, hi, I'm Collin." She was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You look just like him." And I was like, "It's fine, whatever." I looked up this Dr. Woolery. If look just like him, you mean wears glasses, has jet black curly hair, and is in his 60s? That's me. That's me all over. What?
Maybe she forgot her glasses. Maybe they're at the bottom of the pool.
And I want to be like, did some guy tell you he was Dr. Woolery? Because I think maybe did you give some guys money?
Maybe she was been lied to.
That's what I think. He called up some guy for a doctor's visit, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm Dr. Woolery, sure." I'll write your prescription.
Some Law and Order stuff right here. Dun dun.
Sweet. Do this.
Yeah, I haven't done anything else. I've just been trying to get my school life together, remembering what I did, trying to get ahead on some of my reading. Right, just been reading random things about that like is relevant for my classes, to get my brain in school mode. So like random stuff like that, sort of jar my head back into. Oh yes, you teach science and history, so let's read this thing and this thing.
I've been reading. Been trying to get into more. I put this off as long as I possibly could, but trying to read more like businessy book, and the more I read them, the more I understand why I've
never read them before. I was right. I knew
it. I've asked people of like, okay, like what are some of your favorites? And man, people throw out a lot of favorites and kind of pick up a theme. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start these couple here. And they're all the same. It's all the same for me. It's like, here's my life. It's like a weight loss journey. It's like, here's my life before I cared about my life. And then I had this major life-changing event. And now, from that event, I learned these 3 principles. And I will spend the rest of the 17 chapters talking about these 3 principles, which should only take 3 chapters because there are 3 principles. But I won't. And then
subdivide.
You subdivide.
Get a book out of it.
What they do is they like either they tell the principle, and then they tell you a story that is 120% made up, or they tell you the 120% story that's made up, and then extract the principle from it. Because you're like, nobody does this. This story makes no sense. What? No, nobody thinks like this. There's nothing here, like why, and they're like, it's a case study. And I'm like, a case of lying? Like, this is not
a case of lying.
Like, I don't, they're really hard for me to parse through. And it's one of those things of like, the skill that I have learned when I'm reading a book like this, it's like, I'm going to read the title. If I don't understand the title, I'm going to read until I do, and then I'm going to jump to the next chapter because I don't have time for your made-up stories.
Yeah, no. I watch the TED Talk, right? There'll be some kind of thing where there's a dude. Just watch that. You can speed it up, right? You can speed it up to like 1.5 times and just kind of like blast through it in like 5 minutes. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
I got it. I got all the information I need.
No, I know. It's like one of those things where you're like, oh wow, like I can really tell your editor came back to you and was just being like, stretch it. And you're like, oh my God, I can see all these words and that you don't need, but okay.
Yeah. There's like, yeah, I can't get behind those kind of things. There's books like that for teaching as well, right? And I had to read at least one for college. And I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever read in my life. It's so bad. And even like a lot of times if you're looking for information, right, they do that thing like recipes do where it's like, it's actually hidden in a list of blog posts, right? And you accidentally end up on a teacher blog. And I cannot begin to describe to you how weird teacher blogs are. They're so odd. They don't make any sense. Like, I'm a teacher and I don't even know what you're talking about. What is this? Stop it. It's really frustrating. You're just like, I want this one piece of information and you won't give it to me because you're going to tell me all about like this defining moment in your childhood I don't care about. I just want to know about some like structure thing. That's all I want to know. I don't care. I don't care about that one time at recess in 3rd grade. Not relevant to my life. I don't care. Sorry. But
Well, and so many times it's like,
I know that sounds weird of me being a podcast host who sometimes we'll talk about that one time at recess in third grade, but this show is for entertainment purposes.
We're not writing a book out of these, although I mean,
yeah, although
a book out of these
coming soon. No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
No. Right. It's like I don't know. Like I don't believe this. I don't believe the story that they tell where they're like, it was a recess and the rock hit my shin and I realized that in business when the shin is like, you're like, no 3-year-old thinks of that. Like, no, you don't.
That's because Collin has first-hand knowledge of being at recess and having the rock dig into his shin and knee. So, like, he's calling you out.
Yeah,
because he knows what that's like.
You don't need. Yeah, it's like, no. What did I think of that? Ow, pain, blood, run. Like it was pretty simple. I didn't have any other life-changing experiences from that. It was
no epiphanies.
No.
Right? No, like.
No, and the number of times that you read it and they're presenting something that's like this, like, and then I came down from the mountain with the 3 principles that will make everybody happy and blah blah blah. I'm like, no, you didn't. Like these, you're just
no. What happens? They were playing King of the Mountain
from the other book, or these same principles have been around for like hundreds of years, and you just change the wording on them a little bit, and like not adding anything to this. You're just trying to make it your own and pitch it as something new. Anyway, it frustrates me greatly.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing too, right? They sell at some point things like that become about the author.
Yes.
Right. You're buying into the author's persona. And it's not really, it becomes less about the principles and more about them. You know. And this isn't any not just business. The business ones are very prominent in this. But it happens in other books too, right? In those like self-help categories. Where they do it does come sometimes, not all the time. There are good ones out there, obviously. I've heard, I don't read them, but people tell me. Like that, you know, it becomes about the author. It's like, oh, the author is the inspirational figure now. And it's not about like what they're telling you, it's like about them and venerating them a little bit. It's like this weird like ego trip thing.
Oh, it's like the documentary where they're like where the filmmakers like, I set out to learn about this part of history that nobody knows about, and like 30 minutes into that, like, and along the way I learned these things about myself. And you're like, oh, you made it about yourself. This is ridiculous. It was actually
I see you've been watching history YouTube channels. That happens sometimes on there.
Oh, bad. It's so bad. We're like, come on, really? You don't need to make it about yourself. Like, I don't care. Like, this is going to sound harsh, but I don't care about you. I'm watching this because I want to learn about this other thing, or I'm reading this book to learn about this thing. And I've also learned that you can tell the quality of the book based off of how many books that author has written, like that business person has written, and where this book
this is book 17, right?
Yes, it's ridiculous the number of them where it's like, oh, sorry, I have a dog barking. Just a moment.
Okay. Aaron, have you had any experience with any kinds of these books? Have you read them or know people that do? You know what he's on about?
Sorry, I was eating dinner.
That's fair.
So as far as like financial books, I've never like really bothered with them. I've never just been like, ooh, I need to learn more about this. A lot of those books that I have are kind of more of like the coaching, like the psychological, the emotional aspect to coaching. And like one of them is definitely like, and this is what this person said to me and it changed my life. And it's like, that's how it's happened. That right there is how it happened. And it's like, it makes it like very difficult to like fully grasp it, because one book was written by he was a baseball coach at Texas for like ever, won several national championships, and it's pretty much like, you know, the goals that he set for his team, and then like, you know, flashback to this, and it's like that was a lesson I learned, and it's like, yeah, I can get behind that. But then I have another book, and it's about like what is it called? Like relentless optimism in sports, and trying, that mindset of, everything that you can do is possible in the right way, and looking at things differently. And it's like, yeah, that's great, but it's from like a minor league, player's perspective. And, he's already like mentally and emotionally checked out. And it's like, did this happen? Did it happen to you? Really, my guy? And so that's what makes it like a little bit just kind of more like tedious than anything. And that's why sometimes I just don't, I kind of just turn it off and just let it go. But yeah, as far as like financial books, I've never really gotten into them. Like, oh, I need to learn more about this. I've just been kind of like, YouTube can solve my answer.
It's true. Yeah, I think that's right. I do have a book about like this. I don't know why I have it. I think Susan got it me for somewhere. But I read a book like that once too. And it's kind of, it's hard to know. It's like the balance of like, oh yeah, here's what all my life experiences taught me. And then like, this is made up dribble and I can't tell. It's hard to discern sometimes, but I don't remember what it's on my bookshelf somewhere, but I think it might be behind something. I can't see it right now.
Right. No, it is. Yeah. I mean, I've also tried to see like what else is this author selling? Like, do they have additional courses? Do they have other things that they've written on this topic that they're not going to go as in depth on in this particular book? And I'm going to end up, they have this funnel. I've picked up on that a lot. The number of authors who are in the business world who are like, sure, I've written 5 books about this, and it's all meant to draw you into their like 3-day intensive course, which is drawn into the week-long intensive course, which is long into like the week-long getaway that then, whatever. And you're like, I see what you're doing here. I'm never actually.
That sounds fishy,
right? Right? No. It's,
yeah.
It's 100%. And it's to the point now because we interview. I talk to a lot of coaches and other people, and it's like I can smell this now. Where it's just like, oh my god, you're actually not going to give any information, and you're just going to talk about your upcoming course or your other book that talks about this, or your other webinar that does this other thing. I'm like, oh, it burns me.
Your book
up.
That's coming out next month.
Exactly. I can't stand it, and it really, really makes me angry. Oh. But just don't have annoying and crappy business practices, and just be nice.
Right. That's why you should hire us as your business consultant.
Wrap around. Yes.
Wrap around time. Boom. There we go.
You are looking for help with your business and marketing and getting it off the ground. You can actually head on over to obrotherpodcast.com/contact. There's a picture of 3 telephones because there's 3 of us on this podcast. I thought that was very good.
That's true.
But you can click one button. It's one button. You click email, open your email app of choice, and you can let us know how we can help your services and your business. And I think this or
if you have any other commercials or advertising that you find annoying and you want us to be made aware of so that we can talk about it.
Send us a link. Do this on YouTube, record it, whatever. Yeah. We'd love to.
We're in.
To critique them.
We'll take your suggestions. Or if you have any other topic suggestions that we haven't talked about yet. Boom. Got them.
We'll add it to our literally page and etc. length of other topics that we
That's true.
It's fine.
All I heard this today, this episode, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yes.
Is that at some point in the future, not anytime soon, because I know everyone's very busy currently, but we need to do some kind of book challenge. It's the only media challenge that we haven't done yet.
Yeah.
Well, one of the ones we haven't done yet. We've done like TV and movies and music. We haven't done any books. That's a longer commitment, though. So we have to pencil that in for a future time. We got to think of some kind of book challenge to come up with.
Yeah. I do have a topic to talk
We'll pencil that in for in the future. Not like tomorrow. Like
to talk
later.
about our reading habit and why we love reading as a possible broader topic. But I do think
we haven't talked about that in a while. So we might hit it back up again and we think about some kind of like book related thing that we could do. Because I know everyone's like super busy right now. So like definitely not a good time for Aaron to be doing a book reading challenge. So we'll push this down the road a little bit.
Unless we made it like a kind of like a book club where we came and like discussed that chapter, the 2 chapters that we were supposed to read.
Oh, that's true. We could do that.
Like, okay, every week we have a small reading assignment. So it's not like, read this.
Yeah, that's true. That would be better than the whole entire book at one time.
Yeah, as long as it's not whatever Aaron's was from the Chinese history for the last 17,000 years or whatever.
Yes, the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Part 1. That's going
to go ahead and say that it's off the table. I'm not doing that one. Sorry, Aaron. I know you're.
All right, we'll workshop this. We'll workshop this off air, but I think we should do something like that at some point. It might be fun. Might not be. We don't know. We'll find out.
I really agree. And I think if we start with, we may have to start with something that we're all. I don't know. Yeah, there's so many things. Like we start with something we're already familiar with, and then talk about it like not having read it or something in a long time, or just go completely.
Oh, that's true.
Like obviously, I'm thinking
we could read something off the high school reading list.
Yes.
Be like, what is this? No.
Oh my gosh! Yes. High school reading list challenge. Oh,
if it's the Great Gatsby, I am leaving the show. I don't care what anyone else says.
You don't want to talk about the green light anymore?
I am not reading about the Great Gatsby. Y'all can fight me. I despise it.
I mean,
so much. I hate it.
Well, I could see where you're coming from because literally no one in that book is likable at all. So, every single character is terrible.
Almost on purpose.
So I cannot even be mad at you for saying because it's true. Like they're all jerks.
Oh, okay. I'm digging this. Fine. No Great Gatsby. Fine. We'll take that off the table. We'll also taking off the Three Kingdoms, whatever. And but other than that, every book throughout history is open to. I like this. I like this.
All right. So so we'll put that on the list for future. We'll start investigating the high school reading list and see what we can come up with.
I like this, and then do a book club with it.
All right.
This is good. That'll be really good. Okay.
Sweet.
Okay. Well, you guys, a wonderful rest of your evening, and I hope you have a good rest of your week. And we'll be in touch.
Alrighty.
Love you guys.
Love you too.